Great. So good morning, everyone. So as I mentioned to you, this is a training for people who want to deliver training on Canva. And as a trainer, I would like you all to break down the training into sections. And the first section would be breaking the ice, getting to know your audience. And let's assume now, for the sake of argument, that we have audience that is, let's say, 100 participants in our training session. So try to get everyone involved. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you all are joining from different parts of the world. I would like to know, where are you all joining from? So in the chat, can you all please put your name, which country are you coming from? So please try to be interactive so that it actually works. Dr. Asha, I can see, is in the audience. Where are you from, Dr. Asha?
Sent message in the chat.
Okay, we have
Area
Area
9
9
director.
director from Bahrain. I can
But
see.
this time I have become the VPPR of the Visionary Parliamentarians Club.
Okay, so that's great. And we wish you all the best. So we have audience from different parts of the world. And the second part that we would like to address as trainers is, once you have built that rapport with your audience, is first of all, try to explain to them what they will get out of the session and what they might not get out of the session. So remember that our training session today is Canva for beginners, which means, and this is one thing that I want to stress, when you all are delivering trainings, in this case, our trainings, I have, at least for the PR trainings, limited them to 1 hour. So what can you deliver in 1 hour? So the main thing is that if you try to make your training too much, it will be overload for the participants to get what you are trying to say. So when you do PR trainings, you might be talking about branding, you might be talking about Canva, you might be talking about so many things, and you just cannot cover so much content in 1 hour. You might say, no, let me do a 3-hour session. It's great that you can do a 3-hour session, but to do a 3-hour session or a 2-hour session in an online environment, most often than not, the majority of your participants will simply put themselves on mute, switch off their video, play games with their children and be having coffee or something like that. So they will not really be interested or engaged with you. So, but when you set a time limit, 1 hour, yes, people can allocate 1 hour. So to get the best out of that 1 hour, try to set some ground rules. So in my case, for example, in Canva for beginners, what I would probably start by saying is, in this session, we are going to focus on how to use Canva to make posters. I'm not going to talk about branding because that is a topic by itself that might take me another 1 hour. We can, if there is an interest, have a separate session for branding. But in this case, I am assuming you have a basic understanding of branding. Let's make sure that you, first of all, if you have any questions when it comes to Toastmasters branding, can you tell me what is the main source that you should always rely on? Can you put in the chat, or you can even unmute yourself and tell me. So based on the chat, it looks like nobody here knows anything about branding. Perhaps we need to have this converted into a branding workshop, or maybe I will ask Dr. Asha Pradeep, when you have any branding questions, where do you go to find the answers?
I go to Tawfiq.
You go to Taufik. All right.
Tawfiq is my coach. He's been our coach for Bahrain Medical Fraternity since donkey's
Okay.
years. So he's
Okay.
the answer.
All right. And Taufik, if you have any questions on branding, where do you go?
Where is Tawfiq? Is he there?
Can I ask Priscilla, where do you go if you have any questions on branding?
The brand
Toastmasters manual.
Toastmasters International website.
Website.
So the answer we should always be, and you should encourage those who respond in the chat, the brand manual. The brand manual is your guide, and you should always refer to it, even if you think you know everything about the brand manual. Why? Because it keeps changing. You should go and review it once in a while to make sure there are no changes to the brand guidelines and that you are always adhering to the brand guidelines. So any questions on branding, please refer to the brand manual. Now, just to make sure that you all do know a little bit about branding before I jump into Canva, can you tell me some of the colors of the Toastmasters brand? Can you put in the chat?
Happy yellow.
Yeah, I would like to see them in the chat, Asha.
Yes.
So obviously, if you have hundreds of participants, you will start getting a lot of feedback, right?
Maroon.
Shushma Gupta says blue, but I would
Maroon
like it to
also.
be the precise color of the Toastmasters brand. What does Toastmasters call the blue color that we use in our branding?
Royal blue.
So the answer is loyal blue. Priscilla says loyal blue, true maroon, cool gray, happy yellow.
Happy yellow.
So these are the four colors that we can use. But in addition to that, I would like you all to tell me what are the other two colors that we can also use in creating brand.
Black and white.
Black and white. Excellent, Dr. Asha Pradeep. So we know the colors. Now, the first person who tells me what is the color code of true maroon gets a big thumbs up from me. The true maroon.
I'm doing. I'm checking into your.
So every color in the Toastmasters brand manual has a specific code, and we must make sure that when we are creating content in Canva to use those precise codes. If you have any difficulty remembering the codes like me, then you should have a small card like this where you print. And the resource for this also, we can put a link for you in the chat so that you can print it and keep it next to your computer whenever you need to refer to this color code. So we know about colors. I hope you know about Toastmasters logos, and I hope you know about the fonts that we can use. If not, let's have a little discussion to understand what are the fonts that we can use when we are creating Toastmaster brand content.
Gotham.
So we have Gotham,
Montserrat.
Montserrat, anything else?
Yes.
So Sans Pro, and I hope somebody does remember that we have a very nice font called Myriad Pro. Now, other than Dr. Asha Pradeep, who can tell me the difference between Gotham and Montserrat? Gotham font and Montserrat font. What's the difference between these two fonts? And kudos to those who can respond to that question.
Gotham and Montserrat.
Block.
Gotham
Some
is
are in big
paid.
block.
Montserrat used by Toastmasters. Gotham is paid. Montserrat is free.
That is precisely the answer. Gotham is a paid font, and Montserrat is so the actual font for Toastmasters is Gotham. But because it's a paid font and it's very expensive and not available to the general public like Toastmasters clubs, Toastmasters has authorized clubs to use Montserrat as a replacement. I know that there are actually what we call free fonts called Gotham, but they're not really Gotham font. They're what we call clones, not really the Gotham. So if you don't have the paid Gotham font, your best option is Montserrat. And what's the difference between Myriad Pro and Source Sans Pro? It's the same story. Myriad Pro is a paid font and used by Toastmasters, but because again, clubs cannot afford to buy fonts, they can run into hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Toastmasters authorized us to use Source Sans Pro. So really, if you are using CANVA, your choices are not really Gotham or Myriad Pro. Your choices are to use Montserrat and Source Sans Pro. These are your two fonts that you should use. Having said that, a final question, and we should not exceed more than 10 minutes for this segment, by the way, even though I have spent, no, I'm quite okay, I think. You should not spend more than 10 segments just to get their knowledge about branding. So we have covered colors, and we see that everyone knows, or most of you all know what is colors. We know about fonts. And the final touch, I would say, is about the images. Can you tell me, when we create Toastmasters content, what kind of images we should be using? Dr. Asha, you can answer this.
Images with the brand colors. Not like that.
Okay, I am looking for a more precise answer regarding images that we can use in
You can
Toastmasters
have
flyers.
Area 18 director also speak. Why only the women are speaking?
Yeah, why only
Yeah,
Asha,
Awad, we
Asha?
would like to hear from you.
Shushma will talk. Shushma is there.
By the way, can somebody tell me what is our tagline in Toastmasters? What is the
Where
tagline?
leaders are made.
Where leaders are made. So anything that shows that leaders are being made, those are the type of images that we should use. People who look empowered, who look engaged, networking. Those are the type of images we should be using when we create Toastmasters. So now that we have understood that there is this idea that you all know about branding, and I'm not actually going to cover about this topic in this, we are now ready to switch to Canva to do a real demo on how to create Toastmasters content using Canva as a beginner. Now, you have a big decision to make here when you start training in Canva. And that is whether you should be using Canva free account or Canva Pro account. And this decision is purely your choice. Like if we were teaching clubs, beginners, what do you think is the best option to use? Should we use Canva free or should we use Canva Pro?
Free.
Use free, but if you are able to get someone to give you a Canva Pro, of course we'll use Canva Pro.
Yeah, but remember, you are a trainer now, right? So you are training and you have these people who are attending your training. And so it means that you should think about what they have, right?
Like
Because you are
Taufik
going to
said, get it from
train
the
them
DD.
on what the clubs have. And most clubs here, what are they using? Are they using pro or are they using free? Like Awad, what about your clubs? What kind of account do they use? Free or pro?
Bro,
Pro.
County Bro, yeah.
Okay, you'll all rich, I think. So this decision is up to you because you can say, if you are going to use a pro account, you can say, as a trainer, We have Canva Free and Canva Pro. For my training, I'm going to use Canva Pro because 1, 2, 3. These are the reasons. Maybe because in your clubs, most of them have access to Pro account. That's why you are training using Pro. Or you can say I'm going to use free account for my demo because I know most of the audience is going to use free. And you can briefly explain the differences between these two. For example, what are the advantages that you get if you use a Pro account?
Resize.
First of all, everything that you see in the Canva, all the photos, all the assets that you have, different things, you can use all of them. But if you use a free account, it will stop you from using many of the elements that are available to create good designs. So that's one part of it. So you are limited when you use the free account. You are not limited when you use the Pro account. Very simple things like background remover, which can have a great impact on how your visuals look. You won't be able to do it with the free account. So that choice, you all will have to decide before the beginning of the training. For this session, I think randomly I will decide I'll go with the Pro account. Just because I am logged into the Pro account. But that's the good thing about it. I can adapt my training based on anything. If at last minute also somebody says, no, we are using free. Can you show us using free how we can make, and I can adapt my training immediately based on that. And you should be also adapt in doing that, which means you should have a good understanding of what you can and cannot do with the free account. And then make sure that your training revolves around that. So let me share my screen now, and this section will be mostly about, as a trainer, I'm going to share my screen, and we have Canva here. So this is the section where we are now going to talk to them about how to create Toastmaster brand compliant poster. And once again, if your first choice, of course, is to decide whether you will train with the free account or the Pro account. And the second decision you have to do is whether you will teach them how to create a poster from scratch or whether you are going to do using templates. And you can choose your training method based on what you think is best for you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you.
Scratch.
And the other part you should do is you should be very, you should prepare yourself ahead in advance, deciding what exactly are you going to cover in Canva, because Canva, once again, is a very vast topic. If you start teaching them how to make videos or make GIFs and do this and share and template, you will be lost. You won't be able to cover it in 1 hour. So pick very specific objective. Let's say we are going to create one poster that is brand compliant, and then decide whether you'll create it from scratch or whether you'll use a template, and then just do that part, and where you will talk about, first of all, colors, elements of Canva, then the logo, how you'll get the logo inside, how you'll get the pictures inside, and then show them how to download that poster. Focus only on that, because there are so many things in Canva, you won't be able to cover it within the allotted time. So for the sake of this demonstration, let us create a poster from scratch. So in Canva, you can create your account, free or paid. And once you are logged into Canva, click on create. And then you have all these options of creating based on predefined templates or to create from scratch. So you can create from scratch using the top part, or you can create from a template if you choose one of these templates. So as we said, our strategy today is to create from scratch. So what we are going to do is we are going to select a target. In this case, let's say I want to create an Instagram poster. So I will select on the left-hand side, social media, and on top, I will choose Instagram. And then I can choose the type of Instagram poster that I want. There are all these options: Reels, Square. Most clubs create flyers using the Square Instagram poster. Why? Because once you create a square, it seems to work almost everywhere. Whether you post on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, the square format just works. But if you were to create a different kind of format, let's say Facebook format, then it doesn't work as well on LinkedIn. It does work, but it doesn't work as well. So but if you're creating club flyers, my recommendation will be always to go with the square format. And here we have a blank square format poster, and we start building on it. Once again, once you load the poster, you do have all these designs. You can choose from them. If you think you want to get some ready-made inspiration, and then of course, if you use these templates and there is nothing stopping you from using them, all you have to do is replace the colors and the fonts to be brand compliant, and then you are ready to go. Okay, but in this case, since I have already made a strategy that my training will be to create from scratch, I will immediately start focusing on creating everything from scratch. And the first thing we will talk about is when we creating something for Toastmasters, we need to focus just on 4 things. First, get your logo. Second, get your colors. Third, get your text with the right fonts. And finally, put in the images. Okay? So when we talk about the logo, let me ask you all a question now and stop the screen sharing. Where do you think we will find the logo? District 20 page? Definitely not, Taufik.
This
So
resources,
Toastmasters
one
is,
Toastmasters International.
yes, the
Top left
Toastmasters.
hand. Yeah.
Remember what I said, whenever you have anything related
Top
to
left hand.
branding, where should you go?
Brand manual.
Brand manual. So let's go back to the brand manual, right? Because everything that we need to create our content, you will find it in the brand manual. And why we should always go to the brand manual and not rely on something that is maybe found on one page or some Google, because those logos could have changed. The recommendations could have changed, but on the brand manual, you'll find always the up-to-date logos that you can use. So let me share my screen and go back to the Toastmasters brand manual. Okay, so this is our current brand manual. If you go to the left, logos, you can find here, let me make it a little bigger. Logos, you should always refer to them from this location, which is click here. This should bring you the logos. In fact, it has downloaded all the logos for me. And you can find them: color logos, grayscale logos, white logos. And a question to you all: why do you think we have so many variations of these logos? You have grayscale, we have white. Why Toastmasters gives you different versions of the logos? Anybody can answer that question?
Yeah, so that you can use it accordingly with contrast to the background of your.
Yeah, so the important thing is what Priscilla said. It is the contrast, because in Toastmasters we have different colors. We have, as we said, loyal blue, we have true maroon, and then we need to choose the logo that will look good on that color. It will have the right contrast on that color. So if my background is white and I put a white logo, obviously I won't say anything, right? Because but if I put a true maroon as my background and in that I put a white Toastmaster logo, it will look nice because maroon and white contrast and complement each other. So that is why we need to choose the right logo that we should use. So let's go back to our design. So you'll find all the logos here. In my case, I have already loaded them in my brand manual because I am using a pro account. And let's see all the logos on the left hand side. So you can see here we have I have not maybe loaded the white logo in my brand kit, but I have here white PNG. And if I take this logo and I place it here, I know there is a logo here, but you can't see anything, right? It's not visible to you. So what happens if I was to change the background to one of the Toastmaster background? And now see the difference, right? It pops out. And that's why we have all these different versions of the logo to use in the right situation, to create the right contrast so that the logo is clearly visible and becomes a unique identity of your design. Okay. On the other hand, if my background was white or gray, it wouldn't look as good because they are both light and there is not enough contrast. In this case, I would then choose the right logo that pops out in that design. Maybe this might not be the right one because it has a www.toastmasters.org at the bottom, which you cannot see right now. Right? So I might want to use something like this. Right? So all of this logo you can use depending upon the situation, depending upon the colors that we use. So logos are clear to everyone. Go to the brand manual, download all the logos. If you have the Canva Pro account, load them and keep so that they're easy to use every time that you want to put the logos on your design. You can just refer to them and then use them. The second thing, of course, we will talk about is colors. And we have already understood that you know all the colors. You have already mentioned to me that we have these 4 colors called True Maroon, Loyal Blue, Cool Gray, and Happy Yellow, in addition to black and white. So you have to choose which of these colors you are going to use for your design. And we do that by clicking anywhere on the design. Let's start with the background and click here, background color. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Yeah, like this, right? So we can click on the background color and select the color by typing the color code itself here. If you have a free account, of course, you will have to mostly type the color codes. If you have a pro account, you can create the brand kit and keep all the colors ready for you. So if you can afford the pro account, all this little time saving makes your design faster, more efficient. But it doesn't stop you. If you don't have a pro account, you should not cry because you can still create the same thing, except it will take you a little more time to do it. So for example, if I want to change the background to True Maroon, right? So do you all remember what was the color code? It was 772432. You can just type the color and you can select it and you have the True Maroon. Of course, in this case, because I chose True Maroon, my logo is no longer appropriate. And why is that? Because in this logo, the word since 1924 is also in a dark color. So dark over dark is not enough contrast. So in this case, if I decide to go with True Maroon, I should choose a
Happy yellow.
logo that matches maybe this one, right? So I can do this. So we have selected the color and we have selected the logo. When it comes to colors, in Toastmasters, especially in the last 2 years, we have been given the option to use gradients, and gradients really make your posters pop. So even though it's a beginner's session, Canva for beginners, we do need to explain to them how they can effectively use gradients to make their posters impactful. And how do we make gradients? Now, if you go back to the brand manual, which should be a Bible, and it is here, luckily, you can see that we can have what we call gradients made up of 2 color codes, right? So blue is made up of 004165 and 006094, and we have the maroon gradient, which is made up of, not true maroon, by the way, you don't see true maroon here. There is something called deep maroon and rich maroon. So they are slightly different color codes. And then we have the cool gray gradient. So these are the only 3 pairs of gradients that we can use. You should note them down because these color codes are very difficult unless you have the pro account and you have created all the gradients in your Canva kit. You should note them down. So how do we make in Canva? We click on the color, but instead of typing the color code here, what we should do is we should remove it, and then we should choose this option called add a new color. When you choose plus add a new color, you get an option to use a solid color, or you have an option to use a gradient. And when you use a gradient, you get this option to define multiple colors, right? So you have color 1, color 2, you can click plus and define color 3 and keep on doing like this. In Toastmasters, as we mentioned, we can only define 2 colors, but we can define them in a, what do I mean by that? So let me say I define a gradient made up of 3 colors, right? 1, 2, 3. And click on the first color, and then I refer to my brand manual, and I realize that deep maroon is, let's say 3B 0104. Refer to your brand manual to find the color code. Then click on the second color and use the second color 781327. And then click on the third color and use the same as the first color, which is 3B0104. So what I have done is I have combined the dark, what we call it, let me show you here. Yeah, deep maroon, rich maroon, deep maroon. This is the third section in your brand manual, right? So this is called radial gradient. Radial gradient is where you start with the dark, goes to the light, and goes to the dark. And you can easily do that in Canva by typing these 3 colors like this. And you can see now in your design, you have this light shade. I don't know whether you can see it clearly on your screen. So it starts with dark, it goes slightly light, and then it goes back to dark. This is called a gradient, radial gradient, right? You can also have linear gradient where you have dark to light, dark to light. So this is your choice, right? You can have dark from top, light at the bottom, dark at the bottom, light at the top, dark at the left, light at the side, and so forth. Or you can have this kind of radial gradient. And having these different combinations of gradients and colors can help you to make that impactful design. You don't have to go beyond what is available in the Toastmasters brand manual. And the other thing you should help them at this point is to help them to understand a little bit about elements on the left-hand side and explain to them about shapes. So if you have these shapes, all these shapes can be used to create impactful design. So let me click on see all to see what kind of shapes we have. And all the shapes can be used in your design, like something like this. Feel free to experiment with them. And each shape can be then having a solid color from the Toastmasters brand manual or a gradient from the Toastmasters brand manual. So if I was to use, for example, this shape, I use, let's say, a linear gradient. No, doesn't look nice. Maybe yellow, gray. You can start playing with these shapes, right, to give you that impact that you want in your design. Feel free to use shapes in any form or any combination to make it look interesting. Click the shape, use the right color, and start playing around with that. So we have covered the logo, we have covered the colors and the gradients. Let's move on to the fonts. To use fonts, we will use our text. Now in Canva, we have three types of text: heading, subheading, body. But for us, it doesn't matter. We can use any of the text element. Let's say I use heading to type in the club name. What font should I use this? What font should I use to type the club name? We discussed about fonts during our initial session.
Gotham.
But we also said, Asha, we don't have Gotham in Canva, right?
Montserrat.
Thank you. You have a
Free.
you won a prize.
Yes.
So when you're typing your club name, what we call headings, we should use Montserrat in Canva. Okay. And so how do we do that? We can click here, and it's already Montserrat, by the way, because I'm using a pro account, I already set it up. But if it was not, you would click on that word Montserrat here on top, and then type the word Montserrat, and you should find it Montserrat regular, Montserrat semi-bold. Any of this is fine, by the way, and this is, you can use it. Interestingly enough, if you see in my Canva, because I'm using a pro account, you will see Gotham here. Can you all read the word Gotham? So do you want to ask me, how did you get Gotham in Canva?
You paid for it.
I don't have that. I'm not that rich, Dr. Asha Pradeep, because the Gotham font costs, I think, if you really want to go into it, it costs about $1,000 or something like that. And
We'll
why
get
should I pay
another watch on
$1,000
top.
when I
That's
can
what-
use Montserrat? So it turns out that there are some clones, as I mentioned to you. These are called clone fonts, and we downloaded them. So they are not. This is not really a actual Gotham font. It is what we call Chinese Gotham font that you get, somebody has copied it. It's a copy. But it looks good, so I don't mind using it. But ideally, if you are using a free account, you should stick to Montserrat, because that's the actual Montserrat font authorized by Toastmasters, so stick to that. Then I will put maybe my additional details, for example, meeting number 420 on 15 August 2025. What font should I use for the rest of the body? Who can answer this?
What is Myriad Pro?
Myriad Pro. Myriad Pro is also
Myriad.
like Gotham, but it's also a paid font. So if you're using Canva for the items that you need to really pay attention for, like the bold things, right? So that you should use Montserrat. For everything else, you should use Source Sans Pro. Okay, so click on the font here and you can type Source Sans Pro and you'll find it here. What is wrong with this this text, by the way? Can you tell me? This meeting number, is it, the font is correct, but does it look good?
Contrast is not there.
Contrast is not there. So keep stressing about this contrast, right?
Mm.
So what color could I use here to make contrast for this font? From
Happy
the
yellow.
Toastmasters brand manual. Because I have a dark background, I should have a light color, right? So I could use white. It looks good. I could also use, which one from here? Could I use yellow?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Unless you
As
want
long
to
as you can read
highlight
it
it.
very, yeah. And could I use
Unless,
gray?
yeah, gray.
What do you
Not so,
think?
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So think about it.
Mm.
The
Because it is
true
meeting
maroon,
number and the date, I think putting in happy yellow would be better because you are stressing that this is the meeting and this is the day. When people look at the poster, they want to know when is this event happening first thing. So,
okay, so these are decisions that you can take. I'm only talking mostly from an overall perspective of contrast, right? You
Mm.
want to highlight something, for example, you could then make this not in bold, for example, and this in bold and this slightly bigger. These are design decisions that you can take while doing the actual design. You can play around with it, but the focus here is that when you have the dark color, which is true maroon and loyal blue and black, these are the dark colors, then your font should be the opposite, which is yellow, cool gray, or white. Similarly, if you have a background that is here, for example, gray, then what could be the text color here?
Loyal blue
Loyal blue, very good. It
or
works.
black.
It works, right? You can see it here. It's
Yeah.
fine, right?
Mm. Or
Yeah.
black.
Black
Mm.
and
Maroon.
maroon. Okay, so that's the play between dark and light. So we are done with the fonts and how we can play with the contrast to get additional. And finally, we talk about the images, how we can add images to our design. And images is a very interesting discussion. So let me stop the sharing first. Now, when you're putting something in a poster, the first thing that the audience will look for is the picture. The picture really draws attention and then people start reading. So really, when you want to create an impactful flyer, the first thing you should do is what image will attract the audience to read more about your poster? What will bring to their attention? So when we talk about pictures, really you can use any pictures that describe people who are engaged, who are talking, who are networking, who look confident, who look, smart. Of course, there are millions of images, but which image should you use? And that's a question, right?
Your
What are your
photograph.
suggestions?
Your
As
photograph.
your photograph is usually the best. When I say yours, what I meant to say is your club members' photos are usually the best, right? Because it describes to the people who are reading your poster, who hopefully are not non-Toastmasters, they see this confident speakers who look like them, who are in the same country, and they can see the same they can relate to them and they can say, I want to be like that. I want to have that confident smile like Dr. Asha Pradeep. I want to be confident like that. And so that will bring them to your club. So usually, if you all are meeting in a physical place, find ways to use your phone to its maximum benefit. Take pictures of your speakers when they are on stage delivering speeches. Okay, your VPPR should essentially, sometimes the VPPR is busy, but he should encourage the whole team to be part of this photo capturing, right? So not every picture that you take of a person is flattering. Sometimes their mouth is wide open, sometimes they look like this. But if you take 10 of them, one of them will be good, right? So take pictures of people who are looking confident, delivering speeches, take group photos, and those photos, in my opinion, are the ones we should use in our posters, right? So having said that, let's go back to our design. So I can upload these photos once the meeting is over. Let me see what I have. Okay, this is my district account, so I might not have such good, but let me upload. So I have all these photos that I took in a meeting. So let's say I want to take this photo. So I uploaded it, I put it here, and it is, in my opinion, a great photo, right? And here we can use the power, if you have Canva Pro, of the power of BG remover that we see here, to really make those professional looking photos from normal photos. You don't have to go to the studio to do this. So you just click BG remover, and wow, isn't that a great photo that can be used in the poster? You can crop it a little bit, maybe like this, maybe like this. And then you are ready to do this. Use this in your design. So like this, take plenty of photos of your club members, find ones that are really good, and then convert them into powerful images in your Canva design. If you find difficulty, maybe you are an online club and you don't have this opportunity to take photos like this, then you could, of course, go to the Toastmasters website, where we have this what we call stock images provided to us free by Toastmasters to use in our club meetings. I personally don't like using this because most of them are, like, for example, if I was to use this, it's a great photo, but it is a photo of people from where? North America. I cannot relate to them, right? So if you had similar photos taken in your club meeting, then fine, I'm fine. Or maybe taken in the region, it would be good. But it will be very difficult for me to convince somebody to come to a club meeting where they cannot relate to any of the person in the photo. You can use them, but use them with caution. Your first priority should be to use your club photos as much as possible. Now we are ready to start publishing it, and all we need to do is click on share, download, and then we are ready to go. Now you can leave, like, try to finish this whole segment within 1 hour. So the starting part, icebreaker, where you get to know who's there, set the ground rules of what will be covered and not covered. And by not covered, basically the brand manual, make sure they have some understanding about it. Put the links to the brand manual in the chat so they can access it. But get some sort of understanding, spend 10 minutes on making sure they know about colors, logos, fonts, and images. Just have somebody from the audience, maybe either in the chat or ask one or two people to contribute towards your training, and then jump into this demo, maybe 40 minutes, where you focus on very specific, these 4 things. Create a blank canvas, talk about logo, show them where they got the logo from, then the colors, talk about contrast and all the time, and fonts and images, and then you're done. There is nothing more to do when it comes to creating flyers. It's now all about their imagination of how they use the elements and so forth. Yeah, that's about it. And now Q&A session, maybe 15 minutes or so. Typical questions they will ask is, they might ask questions that are beyond the scope of your training. They might say, okay, but how do I make a video? You should not jump and spend another 15 minutes talking about how to make video, because that will divert from the session. So you can say, okay, we can discuss about videos in a separate training session. We can plan it. This is beyond. Or they might talk about how to add small things you can cover. For example, how do I do a QR code? Maybe if you think that is a useful thing to do in a poster, you can quickly show them small things like this. Priscilla is saying, but how to do a QR code, right? Okay. Yeah, if you are confident about it,
I
do
will
it.
just say this is beginners, not not for QR code.
Yeah, so if you think that by adding a QR code with the meeting link will help you, then what we can do is we can add the QR code in a Canva very easily by going on the left-hand side, and then there are these apps. Where is this apps, right? There are many apps that allow you to do things, and one of them would be a QR code. So you can just search for QR code. So you have a QR code generator. Right, so you can choose a type of QR code, and here you would give your meeting URL. So if you have a Canva, a Zoom meeting link or something like that, you want them to use. In my case, I'll just take a link to the Toastmasters brand manual as a QR code and put it here and put generate code. Now, if you scan this code, by the way, on your phone, it will actually take you to the brand manual. Right? So it's very easy to create QR codes if you think they add value. Especially if you have a registration form, you're conducting a workshop and you want them to just scan the QR code and take them to the registration form, you could use the QR code. But if you are not confident about it, don't say, okay, maybe we'll do it in another session. But if it is a small thing that can be done in a 1 minute demo, then you can go open the screen and show them how to do it. What happened? Did I stop sharing? I think I stopped sharing, right? Yeah, but you all saw the demo of the QR code, right? Okay, fine. Any other questions you think you will encounter and how to address them, as if you are doing a Canva for beginners? Sushma said something about no gray. Maybe can you
That was
clarify?
when you were showing the contrast color now, whether to use yellow, white, or gray. The gray doesn't have much impact against the maroon. That was the
Okay.
time when she mentioned no gray.
Yeah, so use your common sense. There should be contrast. Always look for contrast.
Toastmaster Awad, he mentioned print, but I don't know with regards to what.
Print. Awad, what were you referring to? Yeah, Taufik has asked a question about up to when can we use the 100-year logo. As per the last update I saw, it was up till October of 2025. That's the end of the centenary year. October. But nobody is going to come knocking on your door if you use it in November or December, by the way.
Okay, I have a question. What if I use like sorry, a poster that I've already created to show them that this is the poster we will create together? So
Yeah,
an
good
easy
idea.
poster.
Good idea. Make sure that you have selected the right objects in your Canva, the elements and the photos and all that. So they are, and you'll cover them. It'll be easier also, right, to achieve that objective. This is what I am going to do at the end of it. So first show them that this is the outcome that you are going to achieve, and then start with a blank design and start building it. And within that 30-40 minutes, it comes to its conclusion, explaining all of the elements that you have used, how you have used them.
Okay. Should another thing I have is in that poster, I just thought about that poster, but then I do have the header, footer, which is already there. So, okay, fine. I'll see.
Awa, do you have any questions?
We can use a lot of phrases also, no? Like captivating phrases.
Yeah, but that is not part of training Canva. That's part of your
Content.
content, right? We are
Content,
not teaching you
yes.
how to make content.
Correct,
That is
correct, correct, correct.
essentially a
Yeah.
design workshop. But here you are enabling
And
them to become.
what is that transparencies? We can use like a transparent, like
Yeah,
it to
so
get a 3D effect.
not 3D effect. So transparency is another object that is available in the brand manual, but I advise you all not to cover it in the Canva for beginners, because it is confusing for everybody, including experienced Toastmasters, make a mistake about how to use transparencies. And my personal opinion, they don't add that much impact in your design. I don't know, at some point they might even remove them because it's very confusing.
Confusing.
Gradients, yes, gradients you should focus on because they really add
Correct.
impact to the.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Toastmaster Ava, there's a question.
no, he has no question that he said
No,
no,
he
but
says if there is a special logo for the club.
no, yeah. So the answer for that, of course, is you cannot make a logo for a club. One of our club, by the way, in
Kuwait Toastmasters.
Kuwait has made a logo. I did bring it to the attention of the AD and that we should stop using that logo. Yeah, so as a club, you should not be encouraged to create their own logos because they are prohibited by Toastmasters.
Even we were told, we had that medical logo of two snakes, but then they told us you cannot use that. You have to use the Toastmaster logo only.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So Sushma is saying how to know your poster is perfect. There is nothing called perfection, Sushma. The thing is, I give this example of this Iranian carpet makers. They are the best in the world. They make the perfect carpets, right? But because they think that perfection can never be achieved, when they make these carpets, apparently one thread they put it in wrong, just one thread, to show that nothing is perfect.
Nazar nahi lagne ka, to remove the
Tika laga do.
Yeah, this
nazar
is part of
tika,
that
yeah,
tradition
like a
of saying
tika.
we cannot be perfect. So they make that mistake deliberately in
Yeah.
their carpet. Okay, what about special fonts? Now I see it more often. As a part of a PRM team, Taufik, it is our job to educate people to avoid special fonts. But I do have one point about special fonts, and let me explain to you what I mean by that in my design. So when we talk about fonts, the important thing about font is that the font should be what we call sans serif, right? So that's the starting point, that the fonts that Toastmasters has chosen are called sans serif, which means you will ask me, Kaji, but what is a serif font? Serif fonts used to be used in the olden days on the print, especially in newspapers. Times New Roman is a classic serif font. Let me check if we have it here. Times New Roman. So this is called a serif font. And what is the difference between a, let me copy and paste it so you can see the difference. So what's the difference between a serif font like Times New Roman that you see here and a sans serif font? The difference is that we don't have the serifs at the end of each letter. You have this. This was supposed to be good for reading on a print media. So newspapers and all that, they rely on the serif fonts, so you can read clearly when the font is very small. But now in a digital media, they are not so good, so we avoid this kind of fonts. Now, as long as it's a sans serif font, and this is very important, it might not be Gotham. This is called, in this case, open source. It's a font available in CANVA. Would you really be able to differentiate that this is not Montserrat? No. So as long as it's a sans serif font which has that similar characteristics, I would not say it's a big problem, right? The problem comes when you change the font structure to something like this. No, even this looks like condensed version of it, but yeah, but maybe something like this. Yeah, you know, this is not a right font, correct? Because even though it is a sans serif, but it is not really, these are not the fonts we should be using. So you can clarify to them that all these fonts are there, but don't go hunting for inspiration in the fonts. The font should be sans serif that look like Gotham or Montserrat. Okay, and Arabic language, yes, good question. And in this case, Awad, I leave it up to you to decide and sort of agree to them what could be the acceptable fonts for Arabic. But again, they should be clean, as long as they're clean and not those fancy ones. So you can recommend to them use, I don't know, what are the fonts that are available in Arabic, let's say, that look good. I need some Arabic text, but yeah, but I leave that to you. Let's not waste my
Even
time.
the language, Malayalam Club, they will have Malayalam script.
Yes, yeah, but I don't know enough about anything other than English and Arabic to comment on that. What would be the acceptable? Because Toastmasters has not really defined any specific fonts for the other language. Corinthia and luxury script. These fonts should be not covered in your Canva for beginners because people will start using them in basic.
But it is in the brand manual in
Yeah.
the fonts page,
So
you know.
you should use these fonts only for announcing some special events, let's say anniversary of your club. So you can use this, but they look horrible, by the way. I don't use them. Just to give you an example, I don't know who came up with this, or maybe
Topic.
no, it's not about a topic. What I meant to say is that I'll explain to you what I mean. This font, So which says celebrates 100th meeting. For example, you want to showcase this in this font called
Corinthia.
luxurious script, right?
Mm.
Can you read it? Right? I can't read. I don't
Horrible.
know.
Horrible.
It looks horrible, right? So
Yeah.
I wouldn't, first of all, I would discourage people, even if it's there in the brand manual, to use it, because you actually can't make out anything about what this font is saying, or the text is saying. And so, and the same goes for Corinthian, by the way. Corinthian.
It's more like calligraphy.
What is the name?
Corinthian. See,
Yeah, I can't find it. It is there somewhere.
it is there in the download, but you have to download it.
No,
Corinthian.
it's there available in Canva, by the way.
Mm.
Spelling I need to check. Corinthia. Yeah, maybe Dr. Asha is right in that. You may have to upload it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not there by default, but it can be downloaded. Yeah, but both of them, they don't look nice. So don't talk about it in your Canva for Beginners workshop unless somebody asks, and then you can give them the same answer saying that, yeah, it's there, but I don't recommend using it. It doesn't look good. Okay, so I think the content, as far as I have explained, can be explained within that 40-50 minutes, and then you are free to, after the session is done, you are free to answer any questions, another 15 minutes or so, then wrap up, and you should be done in like 1 hour, 15 minutes max. So Awad, I wish you all the best. I will discuss with your training coordinator when we can schedule the district Canva for beginners in Arabic, and I wish you all the best. Any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I will be more than happy to support you. I will be sending you this recording along with the AI transcript, which will hopefully have summarized the main points. So based on that, you can decide whether you want to have a PowerPoint presentation or directly jump into the training hands-on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for
For your
joining us
time.
on this Friday morning.
Thank you very much.
It's prayer time, so I guess many people will want to leave.